Hi, my name's Steve, and in this video, I'm going to share some messages from Spirit. So I haven't done anything like this, I don't think, before, but in this video, what I'm going to do is I had a dream last night. I've been dreaming a lot more, like really profound and memorable dreams. And normally, for me to remember the dream, I've got to journal it and write it down when I have it. Like if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll write it down. But lately, I've been having such vivid and profound dreams that this one I didn't have to write down. But the messages that came through were very clear. And the reason I'm doing this video is I don't think the messages that I'm getting are just for me. I think they're for others as well. And so if you're tuned in and you're elevated in a positive state and you've got elevated emotions, then I think that you'll appreciate this message. And the message is, let me tell you the dream first, and then I'll talk about the message. Actually, let me talk about the messages, then I'll talk about the dream. So the messages are, there's kind of three themes I came up with. So one is you're getting more support from the Creator. Okay, you're getting more support from the Creator, from Spirit. I'll explain why and a little bit about the dream on the next one in a minute. Secondly, you're getting access to greater gifts. Now this is really cool because I've seen this, I'll call it psychic ability. I've never really called it that before. Heightened this week at a level I've never seen before, where I'll ask a question. Like I'm on sales calls every week, right? For my own business and for my clients, I'm helping them with sales. And a lot of times I will ask a question verbally out externally to get an answer, but sometimes I'll ask the question in my head and then the answer immediately comes to me. I don't even have to talk to the person to get the answer. And I'm noticing that is becoming amplified in a way I've never seen before. So psychic ability and state of knowing, right? So I just know things. Like we just got a 1-year lease for an apartment, or I should say it's a house. We're going from the US back to Canada. We got a 1-year lease, small little house. And like as soon as my wife showed me the posting for the ad for the lease, I knew we were going to get it. And we got it. We just sealed the deal the last 2 days. So this kind of like knowing the future, just like having a knowing, heightened again. So access to gifts, that's the second message. And then the third is that because of these two things, these two messages, you no longer have to live on the level of duality, and you now have the power to create. Now I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in depth, but let me explain the dream I had. So the dream was, there's this figure in the dream, and this is a person in real life that I have a lot of respect for, who's done very well in the publishing, speaking, training business. And I've really admired this guy for a long time. And in the dream, he comes up to me and he's like, Steve, we need to support you with this. We need to take care of you. And it was like he was giving me an investment, not just of money, but investment of his time and his information, saying, here, you can have this. And I'm talking about a big investment and not necessarily financial, because dreams are tricky, right? It's how you interpret them. But the feeling was, we're going to put a big investment into you, into me. And at first, I was like, my reaction was like the Italian, no, like, don't worry about it. I'll pay for the meal, like not allowing it in. And then I realized I was doing that, and I'm like, no, I'm open to this. I'm open to receive. And it was a big receive. And then after I received that, I felt this support. And this message came to me that you're supported by Spirit. And that's the first message, is that you're now getting support from Spirit. Now, why am I saying now you're getting support? In the past, and remember it's 2022 now, right? In the past, I personally believe, again, I can only come from my own experience, but I personally believe that a lot of people were trying to get support to create their dreams, but because of the darkness in the world, they were not getting that support. And that darkness may have been, I've talked about this in other videos, from EMFs, from food, from other people, that just cast a shadow on you that wouldn't allow you to shine your light. Well, now what's happened is that darkness is starting to dissipate. I'm not saying it's gone, but it's starting to dissipate. And it's now easier for you to get support from the Creator, from Spirit. Now, here's a key caveat. If you are looking for support from Spirit, financial support, emotional support, physical support, maybe you're not well right now, whatever it is, what I can tell you is you're not going to open that conduit to Spirit by staying in a fearful place. However, if you can get to a place of peace or neutrality, you then can open the conduit to Spirit and get the answers that you need in order to ascend. Okay? So this has been so far an amazing journey for me, and I am amazed at the support of Spirit. I would say in the last few years, that support for me, I would have labeled it as inconsistent, but what I've realized is that it's because of my emotional levels. And once I've been able to learn over time how to stay in a grounded state where I feel peaceful or elevated emotions, what I'm learning now is that the more that I can train myself to do that, the more momentum I get, the more my energy displaces those higher frequencies. What happens is that connection to Spirit, that connection to God, Creator, whatever you want to use, becomes more permanent. And you have support anytime you need it. All you need to ask, and you will get the answer. And it's instantaneous. The reason that some people are asking and not receiving is because they're in fearful, more dense vibrations, which is disconnecting you from the power of Spirit, the power of God. Okay? So that's the first message, is you're getting now more support from the Creator than you ever have before, and that's because more people are elevating to these higher vibrations and less dense. So less material, more like love, joy, those sorts of things. Okay? So that's number one. And it's funny because I just had a sales call with a new client, and we were talking on the call at how like we have these gifts. He's a ghostwriter. He's an amazing writer, and he can write very fast, high quality books. And I'm a copywriter. We have our own gifts. And we acknowledge that those gifts are natural talents. And what you may find is some of those natural talents starting to surface now. What I'm saying is that's a nudge from the Creator to say, hey, this is what I'm supporting you to do. So if you're being nudged to go in a different direction for your career or your financial situation, follow the nudge. But always stay connected to Spirit so that you know what the next thing is to do. Okay, so that's message number one, is that you're now getting support from the Creator. This is awesome because we all are getting this support. Number two, we're getting access to greater gifts. And I talked about this a little bit already, right? Psychic ability. A lot of times, if someone books a sales call with me, I will go and look at their profile on LinkedIn, check them out, and then kind of reflect on them and contemplate who they are as. And a lot of times when they first book the call, I'll go to my calendar and I'll be like, I'll already know that they're a client. So this psychic ability is becoming more heightened. And the value of it is, and again, I'm relating it back to sales because I do so many sales conversations each week, is that we're becoming more telepathic and requiring and needing language and words a little less than we have in the past. And again, this happens when you're in a higher vibration and more connected state. If you're in more dense vibrations, more fearful, more worry, more anxiety, you're not going to get access to these gifts. But if you can manage to get to a place where you feel at least at peace or neutral, well, then you've got massive upside opportunity to connect with these higher gifts and skills. Some of them may have been things that you've had in past lives that now you're starting to tune into. But for me personally, like I said, it's psychic ability. Which I laugh when I say that because I never really saw myself as a person who is psychic. But the fact is that I'm able to read people's thoughts and feelings without having to say anything to them. And it makes me a very good salesperson that way, because then I get a sense of what that other person's thinking and feeling without actually having to ask them. And then number 2 is, like I said, that state of knowing. Like I knew we were going to get the lease. This knowing. And again, the level of consistency of that knowing always comes back to, how am I feeling emotionally? And if I am in a state where I feel an anxiety or worry or like lots of thinking, sometimes it's, for me personally, it's just like my head's thinking a lot. I'm getting a lot of thoughts. It interferes with that connection to spirit. But once I can kind of like be the observer of those thoughts and they start to kind of just fade away, and I don't get thoughts, which there's those states that I generate from my meditations, then all of a sudden I'm like, that's when that knowing comes back. Okay? So that's message number 2, is that the message again is, you're getting access to greater gifts. Be open to them. Okay? And then number 3, and this is the last one, is that you no longer have to live in duality because you now have the support to create. What does that mean? Well, when you create something in the 3D physical world, it may be to apply for a job, you get a job, or like you do something physical and then you get a result. That's living on the level of duality, okay? Living from a level of intentionality means you can create something inside and then it will show up on the outside, and it will show up every time, but it may not show up the way that you expect. It may show up in a different way. And so this level of creating internally to manifest externally, because it's all the same stuff anyways, that level of our ability is now enhanced as well for all of us who want to manifest what we want. Okay? But it does require that you close your eyes and you shut out the outside world at least once a day. I do it in the morning to meditate, contemplate what it is you want. Okay? That's message number 3. So those are the messages from Spirit. And they're very strong this month. I'm noticing later in the month it's very strong. Like I said, I had that dream, and that we're moving into an era. I don't want to say a time, because this is like, I think this is going to last years and years and years, where humanity is getting back their gifts of realizing that the Creator is within, not without, and that there's no outside deity that you need to pray to in order to get what you want. You are that deity. And when you pray, you're praying to yourself. I hope you found that useful. My name's Steve. Thanks for watching and listening. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please share it with someone else if you feel it was of value. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Thanks again for watching. My name's Steve, and we'll talk to you next time.